Do that. And, yeah, we should be good. So pumped to have Coach Shukie from Kent Hill on today for this 8-man offense talk. Super appreciative, Coach, of you guys in the 8-man world reaching out and trying to help some of these guys. We got 26 teams this year, Maine going 8-man, 16 new ones this fall. So the more we can hit you guys up for some stuff, the better. So it's all you, Coach. Go ahead.
Well, thanks. I'm just going to share my screen. I had a PowerPoint prepared for this way back in March here. So I'm just going to share that and kind of go off that. So I'll try not to just talk over my slides. And then obviously we'll get some film in at the end. But let me get going here. Make sure everyone see that.
Yeah, you're good, Coach.
All right. So we called this the Husky offense. I mean, that's our mascot, so it's pretty easy to go with that. But it's kind of a couple things I want to do today. First, I'm just going to talk about our transition from 11-man to 8-man. We'll go quick through that. I'm sure it's been discussed and why I went with this, and then we'll go through the X's and O's a little bit of our run game, our pass game, particularly our screens, and then some regrets we have and what we learned from the year, and what we're going to try to do differently next year. So it was a short season. It was only 6 games, and by the time we figured it out, the season was over, I think. So just kind of a little brief view of our football program, which has not been so great other years. We went through a 6-year stretch here of going 5-32, no more than 2 wins in a year. We were the smallest school or second or third small school in all of New England playing 11-man during that time. We're the most northern school playing football of any kind in prep school football. And our numbers, for 11-man, between 17 and 29 kids in the whole program. That includes freshmen to postgraduates over the course of those 6 years. Small school, about 200 kids, very heavy hockey population often. They don't usually play anything else. So it's been sort of a difference the last couple of years, luckily for us. And on average, we turn over about 60% of our team each year. So very hard to develop a consistent, all right, the kids know this kind of style. Because we had to teach it new every year, which meant we were often changing what we did based on who we had. Now we kind of hit it pretty good in 2018, our last year of 11-man football, 5-3. We beat the defending New England champs, and we beat the team that ended up winning the New England championship that year. But we had a different team. We had 8 returning starters, including a kid who ran for 1,000 yards as a junior. We had a returning quarterback. We had 2 returning linemen, both who play in college now. Our 3 post-grad additions were really good kids, great players. We only had 24 kids in the team, but we had 14 seniors and 8 kids playing college football, plus an additional 6 college athletes of other sports, hockey, baseball, and basketball. So, we had a good team. We ran for over 2,000 yards in 8 games. We were tough. We were the toughest team I've ever been around, very physical, just a gifted group. And so that made it pretty easy, even though we were light in numbers. But because of that number, we had to make that switch with only 9 players returning. And we had 1 junior kid quit during the season that year. Head of school made the call for us to join the emerging 8-man conference. In the end, we only had 4 kids from that 2019 roster. Our starting quarterback was one of them. We had 2 of our top 3 wideouts and 1 kid who, is Chinese, who works his butt off, but doesn't really know what's going on out there most of the time. 3 kids decided not to play. 1 is expelled. 1 transferred to be closer to home. So holy shit, what are we going to do now? Was kind of our what we were worried about in the last winter. So I did go to a clinic, like many of you. I went to find something new. I went to the Glazier Clinic in Kansas City that had an 8-man room. I used my recruiting budget that I don't have anymore, but I had it for 1 more year last year to go do that. And I wanted an offense that was flexible, that was different than what I had seen already, that would be hopefully different than what anyone else did. And because I had a starting quarterback returning, although he was really a kid whose job was to hand the ball off for 2 years, but he did have an arm. I wanted to give him a chance to throw and showcase his ability. He's going on to play in college next year. So, but I also wasn't sure if he was going to transfer because of this move. So I wanted something that could be run heavy if we needed it to be. So I found what I was looking for, along with some really good barbecue. So if you ever go to Kansas City, look up some burnt ends. Best barbecue you're ever going to have. So we came up with this, we got this formation that we ended up calling Husky. that I'll go over right now. Okay. It is unbalanced to start, and that's kind of we put an extra guy on the line to start every snap. I'd say 95% of our plays this year, we had an extra guy on the line to start. Of those plays, though, 9 out of 10 times we are going to shift someone off the line. So we start like this, and we numbered our, we gave our guys letters. I didn't really put much thought into letters of why they were. Just kind of tinkering around in the hotel room to start putting letters on people. And so, we use shifting and motion potentially to present problems to the defense, get other players eligible, potentially guards, though, we didn't do that much of that this year in terms of making anything out of it. And really our hope was to make the defense play their base all the time. And that, when we line up, we have 3 eligible receivers, but half a second in, we could have, 4 and we can make something work. So make them sort of align. Now I pasted this from Huddle, and I'll show my Huddle film later. It didn't come out the highest quality I wanted, but what it's supposed to look like is the D off the line, the Y and the X on the line. He's on, but he's not great, really, as high as he should be. And the Z on the line. So we only have one guy technically in the backfield along with our quarterback to start. All right. So why did we do this? Well, I give credit to Coach Billy Nichols from South Central High School in Coldwater, Kansas. In his talk, he tried to convert us to this offense and try to convert us to his church. And he got me on his offense, but as a lapsed Catholic from New England, the church didn't really work on me. But the offense did. So, and it was incredible flexibility that I saw in his talk. Was we could run 2 tight end type stuff. We could run 4 wide stuff. We could run option. In fact, he ran a lot of option out of it, which I love. I didn't have a kid to run it, but I do love it as an option down the line. We pass heavy, run heavy, anything we want, as long as we're creative and we can keep it simple. Have potential to mess with timing, play calling. We pretty much saw the same defensive front all year after our first game. Our first game, we saw something different and then saw basically the same thing the rest of the year. We had one-on-one on the outside all the time. You kind of have to. And we had 2 good wide receivers this year and a third kid as a backup who wasn't bad. And we had a big play that was always a jump ball away because of that. And for now, it's unusual, at least for now. Even the seasoned guys at the Kansas City Clinic that have been doing this for 30 years, we're taking notes that this is something they've never really seen before. So if teams have to break their rules for us or force them into a set that we like to block, that's good for us. So our basics, this is, clinic talk, how much our guys actually did this, debatable. But we break the huddle, we get to the line, we get a 3-point stance for the guard, center guard right away. Everyone else in a 2-point, wide receivers in a typical wide receiver stance, X and Y in kind of a 2-point linebacker stance, if you were. Quarterback says check, check, and we shift. Ready, set, go is almost one word, and it times up motions for our snap. For quick plays, we can snap on check. So we had some pass plays that we just snapped the ball, particularly quick screens. We just, everyone gets in the kind of the habit of waiting for us to shift. And that first play, we just snap and go. And that was something that worked for us pretty well. We gave our shifts names that the kids, recognized with their position. Yo-yo was Y steps off, Ox was X steps off, Z steps off, and with zoom, we always add the zoom motion or your standard zoom motion with that. And D, which we never actually use, stepping off because they're already on the line of scrimmage off to begin with, but there are formations they could be on. We call them duff. We never actually had to do that. All right. So what are we going to run out of this? Our base plays out of this: inside zone, sweep, and counter were our 3 base plays. Inside zone's kind of a combo inside zone dive. But we kind of have to zone it up a little bit because we don't have enough guys in the line of scrimmage to make it a true wedge dive thing. We had some wrinkles. We did run some jet sweep, which I love the idea of, but the field is so short sometimes that kids runs right out of bounds. We did a little bit of wham zone out of a different formation. Have speed option in there. Kid's not great at it. He's gone though, so maybe next year. And some quarterback ISO, same deal. Kid wasn't great at it, though he could have been. maybe next year a little more. So a sample play for us, and I'll put some film on about this shortly, versus kind of a 4-1 look, which we didn't see a lot of. But we're just going to basically leave the first guy on or outside the guards, the backside guards shoulder unblocked. At least that's in theory. And we're going to try to zone up first guy on or inside, first 2 levels. Get a hat on each one of those guys. Want our quarterback to ride that zone into the line of scrimmage to cut off backside pursuit. Didn't do a great job of that this year. Really work on the wide receivers and how their blocks really can spring touchdowns, big plays. So you all can see this, I'm sure, and it's just pretty standard. We're working on our zone combos. We saw a fair amount of blitzing from one team. The rest was kind of based up a little bit. Tom did some good stuff against us, and he ran bringing that. When we shifted a guy off, he brought that end down into the line, made it harder. And we weren't really reading this year. It was extra time we didn't really have, and our kid wasn't great at it anyway. So that creates some problems for us. It really shrinks the front. I think if I go back one, oops. All right. We called it dirt. All my run plays are hard things. So you kind of tell the kids, you hear something hard, it's a run play. So, something tough. Dirt. Our sweep is savage. Sweep or, toss without throwing it. We basically played by the rule that if you can block down on somebody, if you have someone basically on the guy next to you, backside, all the way to your backside shoulder, you block down. If not, you pull. So you can see we actually have the center pulling on this. It's got the easiest block in the world for our kids is the down block. So let's do that. All of my linemen were athletic kids this year, so there wasn't anyone I was trying to avoid pulling. My center is actually probably my best athlete on the line. We did away with the quick motion time for sweep this year, although I have it in the playbook. And we actually handed the ball off behind the quarterback late in the year on this, just because we were getting too much penetration with our other back here. Those guys are tight end, really they're running backs. Him trying to make a block, we get too much penetration on that. So we gave our guy a chance to bubble it back a little bit. So we'll get that on film a little bit too. Other formations we run besides Husky, we call this trips. It is unbalanced. I can remember Coach Rudolski wondering what the hell this was in our scrimmage against them. But it was the same thing. It lines up unbalanced, and we can step the X off and still run back to a good, the equivalent of a 3-man front and 11-man, but a 2-man front here. We can run some different pass game stuff this way. Something that was really good for us was to step the Y off and run counter back to the short side this year. So it gave another look that we liked, especially with these 2 kids we had that are good players for us, to give them some stuff to do together. So a quick shift can also get us to a 3-man pass game. X steps off. We're still legal with 5 men in the line of scrimmage. We can run trips pass. Again, force defense to adjust to unbalanced. Great formation for sweep. Bring an extra blocker over here. This guy for us, even though he was a wide receiver, is about 6'3", 210, 220-pound Division I possible basketball player. So if we're bringing him over there, that's like bringing a tight end there. And good protection for sprint out, which we kind of did half roll with it for most time. Here's our counter. We call it crash. Same thing out of trips. We're going to pull the backside guard to kick out this guy here, and it's a quick hitter. He steps off, bang, he goes basically vertical, and if you get that center block on the nose, because if everyone thinks you're stepping off and running this way, 80% of the time, the one time you don't, that nose tries to cheat. That's an easy seal, and it's just one-on-one block right there. And when we ran it right, it was pretty good. When our backs didn't run it right, or when neither guard pulled, it didn't quite work out as well as you would hope. Another formation we ran, this is dog. We just called it that because put the D on it. It was almost like a wing. Gave us an extra surface for the run game, 3-man run. We get the X here, and now we can follow. We did it in a way that our best lineman was with our big wide receiver, and this guy wasn't much of a blocker, but the 3 of them together was pretty good. You can also hide these two guys now for pass game, kind of coming across. Sets up a wham zone, which we did a little bit, where we chipped him back, come the D behind line of scrimmage, kick out. And it's a great run, look for QB run if we ran it. If I didn't have a number 2 wide receiver and I had more of like a third tight end or a fullback type, I would probably start with this as my base and do more stuff out of this than Husky. There's a triple option threat as well. If you can shift a guy off, run him here on dive, and he can become your pitch man. So there's some triple option there that I have on my blackboard that I can't access right now because my room is quarantined. But there's some triple option stuff there that is also pretty good. And then some pretty basic stuff that we called, formations that weren't unbalanced, ace and pop, that we like to run kind of 4 vertical pass routes, QB run, jet sweep, any kind of quick snap stuff. When we break the huddle and we line up in it, if the defense isn't quite recognizing right away the X that, we're on and off, they think it's just Husky. It's not. And we can't step anyone off the line, because if we do, then we are ineligible. But we can run quick plays out of it. It was a lot of time our 2-minute offense would have been out of ace just because we're going to pass the ball. Quick plays, quick count. I'd like to start running some sweep. If you go back to like some, of the pistol triple option stuff that, Bates College used to do up our way a few years ago, I think you could run some sweep out of this, like quick jet sweep to the X or the Y from pop as well. All right. All right. And a couple that we kind of came up with during the year, extra, which got an extra, blockers, was our heavy unbalanced. A lot of times, like every time we ran it this year, we stepped our Z off the line and ran jet sweep or fake jet sweep and maybe some kind of bootleg back the other way. And then our last game of the year, we started calling this formation Gecko. As I was always a big fan of unbalanced. I mean, I was an 11-man. We were power I team, and so we were always trying to find ways to get unbalanced and bring our big guys over. So we always called taco for tackle over. I was trying to think of something with a G, something with Gecko. We got our 2 big guys next to each other. We had 2 big hockey players from Canada playing guard for us this year. Each of them are 6'3" or taller. One's 230, one's 250. So we got them next to each other, and same rules as Husky for everything else. And we could potentially run a guard run here. Had one of those kids been in a little better shape, we could have probably done that. But they were playing both ways at a hefty amount, and they're pretty beat up at the end of the year, so it wasn't really in the cards. But we did run it as a formation to try to. It was more to get the key block away from our Y and kind of put them on the backside, and get our X behind our 2 big guys. All right, this is some notes there. All right. I'm going to actually take a break from this and kind of show some run game on film here. I do have time here. Okay. All right. So I got the huddle going on here. Get the. All right. All right. So we got dirt first. This is out of yo-yo or out of trips. Yo-yo, so we're in trips left. We step our Y off the ball, and we are going to attempt to run inside zone, kind of in the front side A gap this direction. Playing against Hyde School here, a little aggressive. Didn't line up trips very well against us, which is why we kept going back to it. My guard there is just pushing off his guy instead of sticking to him. It ends up working out because he throws his guy out of the way and then gets the linebacker. If this kid had a little more breakaway speed, it's probably a touchdown, but not gonna complain about a 22-yard run. But yeah, trips, often gets teams out of position. They may be missing a player in this because there's 8 out there, but they overplayed trips. Oops, I wanted to go by play, not by formation. All right, build it off here, but. Here we are down the road a little bit. Gonna step that guy off, and obviously your your procedure is important to make sure you get it right. I don't think we did a great job of that this year. However, we didn't really get called for it either. We could have been, though. We could have been called for some procedural stuff. And it was sloppy at times. And, it's one of my things I want to work on for next year. So dirt, just like in any inside zone for us, dirt is a play that can definitely break backside. And our running backs hopefully are aware of that. This kid likes to do that. He's a bit of a dancer, but he's a tough kid too. He's another kid we got from Montreal. It's like half our team is from Montreal, I feel like. So we should be letting this guy go, unless what Tom had done here against us was kind of bring that guy down a little tighter. So it became harder for our guy to let him go. And that's okay. If they take him, then the running back has to basically make this guy miss, which is kind of what happens. But that's a tackle in space, that I think some kids are going to make sometimes and not make other times. And if we can create space, we got a chance. And we can create space because they have to play their corners out here on our receivers. And it's still one-on-one. So we have enough space created already on an already small field that makes these tackles harder. This would be the week before. Yeah, so again, the Y stepping off here, and he's not quite as smooth as the other kid. He's a tough runner. And I want to see my backside guard get that run through. And especially against this team that they blitzed a lot. Get that run through, make this guy bend the line and make the tackle. If he does, we'll tell our quarterback to keep it once in a while. We'll just tell him. But that run through, although it doesn't make the tackle, prevents us from being a bigger play. If we make that block and he comes through unmolested, maybe we come a little smoother there. He hits this hole a little harder. It's 8 yards instead of 4. Get a touchdown on this one. Same thing though. I want my guard to be stepping play side and not dropping his head for some reason, and going after the end. Step play side, get this backer here on that run through. Now our kid at number 1 is a little bit smoother than 87. He's able to make this cut, this turn a little faster, hit that hole, and now wide receiver blocking downfield. We got a touchdown. Kid thinks he's playing Notre Dame, doing the Hail Mary in the end zone there, even though he's a Muslim from Montreal. Well, my kid's hit it a little harder here, 87 again. He should be getting a half a step deeper. Quarterback's probably a little too far back as well, so he's hitting this more downhill. And be able to see, now it's a better job. He got his hands on the end because the end was kind of head up, but that seal block there, now if we we're able to kind of wheel this back, we got a pretty good hole. But you see what you see, and it was 2nd and 1, and we got 2, so not necessarily mad about it. Let me get just one more dirt here. I think I showed that one. Here's the problem I talked about with our Y this year blocking. It was he just kind of took it in the chin sometimes. And, he fought, but he didn't have much in the lower half in terms of strength. So he just took it in the chin. And but it ended up creating some seams for us, too. It kind of created almost another level of the defense. The kids get too deep in the backfield, and now they can't make that tackle. So the kid was willing to take it in the chin all game. It didn't actually hurt us that much. Here's dirt out of dog. So here we have our D tight to the Y there. Extra guy. Now, in this case, I would tell my running back that the backside is not out of the question, but you want to be thinking front side. You want to be thinking 3-man surface, get behind the big guys, get some yards. Okay. Now, he ends up kind of going a little too sweepish with his path. I'd rather have him cut there. Center doesn't do a great job on his block. But, good athletes can kind of make up for it a little bit and get a 21-yard gain. So if you're running hard, good things are going to happen. And with that front side collapse, because we have, so many guys at the point of attack in terms of 8-man, it brings the corner into it, but I'll take, my guys blocking a corner on most days, at least the guys I had this year. We get a good gain. And teams adjust to it. It's nothing different there. Well, hopefully if we're blocking it right, this guy is disrupting the play, and we're letting him sort of get in the backfield, because then we can set up for things like this. Now, this is unintentional, mind you. Quarterback just didn't get the snap right, and he almost drops the ball. But because they're pursuing so much, and because our guard's actually doing the right thing now, getting the run through, quarterback keeps it. Kid could not finish a run to save his life for 3 years. He'd slip and fall every time. But, he was my starting QB for 3 years and won more games here than any kid probably has in 40 as a quarterback. So, all right. We're going to skip ahead to Savage here. Let me just get to my. All right. So we had a pretty good year this year. Ended up being 4-2. Our 2 losses. We got beaten by Hebron there in our last game of the year in a kind of a division championship, and then we lost that game to the team in blue there in the other grass field, which was kind of a surprise. We ended up beating 28-0 the second time we played them. This was their eventual league champion, the All New England Pomfret School. They're the 3rd straight year, and we're the only game they've lost in 3 years, and it was this game. But we only ran for about 20 yards this game. We did not run the ball well. We hit them over with a pass. But this was our only big run of the day. This is on Savage. But you don't even really run right, because the guys don't figure out who should be pulling here. We should, I believe, be having the center pull based on what I see here. But the center doesn't pull. He gets kind of hung up in there. And now it's just about getting to the edge. This is why we did not have a good game running the ball, because we did not block a run play right, I think, all game. We worked on it pretty hard for the next week and ran for over almost 200 the next week. And this kid, unfortunately, was a postgraduate lacrosse player for us, and a very good athlete. The next play, we run the same thing the other way, pops his hamstring, and pretty much is ineffective the rest of the year. This is our opening game. So he has a lot of potential that didn't turn out to do much for us. Trying to run the same thing. This is the play right here, actually, versus trip. So again, there's a lot of space out there. If we can get those down blocks, right, and that pull, and get a good athletic lineman out there leading, we are not allowed to block below the waist right now, I don't believe anymore, although that rule seems to change depending on what state we're playing in. Even so, a good back can make that block work, and we can get a lineman on a backer or a corner, and then it's one-on-one to the end zone, hopefully. And it's actually not bad until his hamstring pops right about there, right before he hits that kid. His hamstring just popped, and he was down. He was out. He may have made 10 carries the rest of the year, and not for a few weeks after that. So here we got that center pull. And pretty good. I mean, natural instincts for number 1 were pretty good. He kind of sets us up. He goes B, and then he goes outside to C gap. Our center actually trips and falls, and had he kept his feet, or he doesn't fall, he trips. Had he kept his feet, it might have been a bigger play. That's a pretty good setup by that kid. He got us 7 yards on a 2nd and long. Gets us back into a manageable down there. And this is not the Coach of the Year award here, running this into the short side of the field, an 8-man, but he ends up turning it up into almost like a power, because he turns it up so fast, which is great. And if you have kids like that can sort of make those quick decisions, that's great. So, number 1 had a great year for us. Thankfully, he's back next year. He may be our quarterback next year. We'll see, but he's a good runner. All right, I'll get on to Crash here. So this is our counter play. No particular order in terms of success or not. This has to be a quick hitting play, and so you see it's kind of obvious what we're doing with that motion. I would like to see it, as we do next year, kind of our review next year. I'd like to see him kind of almost step like he's running zone and let the quarterback put the ball in the breadbasket there, and then quick one step and go. This one is a broken play. It's a pretty good read. Now they blitz a lot, but this kid kind of reads it and goes backside, and we're not really accounting for him based on this front. So You know, that's tough. That's not really true. I would say that our guard is to make a decision of which guy he's going for. And I would actually probably have him go rather the middle linebacker than that guy. But either way, we're outnumbered. But I made something out of nothing there. Get some of these out of trips. There we go. This one gets called back for something, but it's a pretty good play if I remember correctly. So running out of trips, and again, you got on trips, and you have to worry about rollout pass. You have to worry about sweep this way, zone this way. You overcompensate. You have fewer guys over here, and if we can make this block work, I mean, you'll see 81 is a really good athlete. He's a kid that is a Canadian kid that can only play defense up at a pretty good school in Montreal. He did not know what he was doing on the offensive line, but when he was out in space, he could be pretty scary going after people. So, you know, that's a good look for us. This should be a touchdown. They called him for a block in the back there on this play. Whatever. I mean, I guess he kind of finished in the back. Unnecessary, probably. But that's what the play is supposed to look like out of trips. And if you're able to catch someone overcompensating for trips, come back the other way, you know, and if you can get, I mean, this kid he's got to be cheating in some way. There's no way that's what he's supposed to be doing, probably. But although maybe because we did motion the guy off the line of scrimmage, so maybe we just got him on one. But it ends up being a good play for us, and that's a good look. You want that. Just don't get penalized for it. We try going back to the well on this one a couple times in this game and don't quite have the same look, but yeah, we can do that. That's not a penalty as long as we reset, which we did. Kids catch themselves. Same thing in this game. So number 8, now he's pulling. He's trying to kick this guy out. And that's a good look. That's one-on-one in the hole. Linebacker's 4 yards deep. You at least got 4 yards in this play, and if you can make someone miss, you got more. They made him miss a little bit. He gets up to 8. Not too bad. All right. Our extras. Our extra plays here are kind of wrinkles. Here's Diamond. Our best player was this kid over here about to catch the ball, number 7. 3-sport captain on our school, hockey, baseball, football, greatest kid in the world. Tough son of a bitch too. Running jet sweep here. So not supposed to be able to do that, but they didn't get called for it. And the block with the waist. We were able to do that until last year. We don't teach it though. So that's our diamond, just basically trying to get as wide as we can, as fast as we can. You do kind of run out of space, and I love this play when we were 11-man. We had a lot of success with it, especially when we would go to some stuff out of, get out of our power I and run some more traditional stuff, I formation, one back. But, we've got good players on the edge and a fast kid, and let's just race to the corner. Let's see what we can get. What else we got? Extras here. Here's our attempt at speed option, which when I introduced this at the Monday morning meeting, my quarterback, I think, rolled his eyes, which is always never something you want to see your quarterback when you introduce option. But the idea is, again, we're always going across the body here, across the quarterback's face for our run play, unless it's counter, which then, of course, the linebacker could read. So what if we just get out there and quickly run speed option? There's a great look for it. I wish he would hold on to that ball a little bit more. He could not wait to get rid of it. And our back should be bowing it back a little bit more. So this isn't a forward pass, but whatever. It gets one of our best players the ball in space. And the linebacker's reading it as best he can. If he actually went outside on this, he might have a better play. He kind of, I think, got a little gun shy there, and then number 8 gets in the way. But it's 3rd and 9. Let's try and do something else. We're in 4-down territory. Pretty much always in 4-down territory in 8-man, I feel. Depending, for the most part. Quarterback dirt. This is our kind of our short yardage play. Instead of going on check, we just snap the ball and go. And just quarterback's just going that play side A gap and let's get something. Face mask on that one. I'm pretty sure it didn't get called. It's 4th and 1. We'll take it. I'll let you call it. Good for you. All right. And is that it for I have one more, I think. So this is our Wham Block play. Should have worked better than it did all year, but we go back to a little more next year. So if we're running our normal dirt. He gets back there. He's crossing the quarterback's face. This kid, number 23, the kid with the pulled hamstring, had a sub in at guard this game because our center decided to have a little party in his room on Thursday night and got kicked out of school. Not kicked out of school, got suspended for a week. So we're gonna, lead on that blocker, let 42 go, get that aggressive kid, and then put, our big wide receiver right in his numbers. Hopefully, we probably jumped the gun on the snap a little bit. Happens. New center. Okay, 23 should be letting that go, but he figured out guard, I think, on Saturday morning at 6 a.m. So he should be going right there. But it sets up really well if we had blocked everything correctly. And you work in that extra man surface, and then you go against it. It's pretty nice. It's not necessarily designed to be a counter look, but it ends up kind of looking like our counter play if you're blocking it well. Okay. All right. Let me go to some of our pass game stuff. That's all right. Anyone have any questions? I suppose you could put it on the chat or something if you had a question.
If anybody has questions, throw them up on the chat, and I'll relay them to Coach.
Grab some water here. I taught 4 classes online today, so my voice is already starting to go away. But well, I'll make it through here, I think. So let me back to sharing the screen again, and I will put our pass game up. I'm a run guy. My father was a long time triple option coach. I think every time I talk to him in the fall today, it's still, it'd be great option. I go, thanks, Dad. But it's difficult in a program we have to kind of have that consistent rep needed type of system, just because we don't get spring ball. We don't get the kids in the summer here very often. I've had like 3 non-boarding students that play significant roles for me in 7 years. So kind of relying on what we got. And, I had a kid that can throw the ball a little bit, a quarterback, 3-year starter for me, only 2.5 years. And so we use that. He's got a good arm. He's got some things he still needs to work on. But you can see in that picture, like he's got some sense of what's going on there. We had 2 great receivers, and our kid out of the backfield was a pretty good ball catcher as well. And the other kid, 87, in terms of kind of catching that quick tight end type stuff, was great at that. So we use that. We use quick game as a base, but could adjust a drop back if needed. I didn't spend a lot of time on various pass protections. We just wanted to make it easy for our guys. We had 3 guys playing offensive line for us that really hadn't played offensive line before. They were all D linemen at bigger schools before they came to us. So just trying to keep things simple for them. So we run slant, we run fade. We got pretty good around a comeback route, hitch, and the hitch and go. So those kind of our 5 base drop back routes. It's kind of a hybrid man gap protection. We saw mostly this 3-2 look. And so we just said, okay, center's got the nose anywhere he goes. No one's running many crazy loops with their nose tackle in 8-man football. So just be firm. Don't give ground on them if we don't have to. Centers have A gap run through first in case they want to blitz there. As of right now, we didn't need any help with our center. If we did, we may change this up. And X and Y have wide rush, checking inside first. So kind of step back, protect your inside gap, go out. And create that little bubble for our quarterback. And on most of our routes, the Z and the D are just running 1-man routes, mirrored most of the time. And we're going to take our best matchup. And so the quarterback knows that. And, there's certain routes that those guys run better than others. And so we went with that. Okay. Out of our trips pass, we had 3 basic kind of concepts. We had a kind of your sail concept, I don't know if you call it, but a speed out and vertical. Inside guy running a speed out, outside guy going outside release deep. We had a pivot out and a curl, kind of like we're going to curl over the top and run and then run a pivot into the flat. And then your traditional smash corner, Steve Spurrier type play there. With a couple wrinkles, we did throw a Y throwback, which I'm going to put on there. It's kind of funny against that team in blue, Holderness, when we played them a second time at home. And we did have a play where we were trying to hide our X to sneak in, and I don't think that really worked this year, but all right. So these are the old hand-drawn on paper calls here. So we called our pivot curl California, our rounded out, speed out vertical Ohio, and our smash corner Florida. And just again, we're keeping the X in the protection here. The X is part of this protection, whether we step him off in ox or whether we keep him on the line. We are reaching with our first two guys to get our quarterback a little bit of a roll, and our center backside is all basically step hinge to kind of create that swinging door look protection. And I have all the stuff here. You can see our coaching points, but our D is running basically a really sharp curl, almost like a hitch, 6 yards, and then working flat out to the sideline, running with the quarterback if needed. Z curls up behind the defender at 9 yards, finds the opening. Ohio, it's just we're making sure we're rounding that speed out in the fifth step, curving back to the line of scrimmage slightly, not drifting upfield, which we will do. And Z must outside release, get that cornerback to turn his back to the so if we can't, so it will not be intercepted. The kid can't see the ball coming. And then read the cornerback. Like anything else, read the cornerback. Throw the out if his feet are moving. He's stationary. Go over the top. Florida, basically any kind of smash rules here. Same thing. Reading that corner. And then we're going to make sure we're leading that hitch to the sideline because we're doing a little roll there. That's going to bring a linebacker out. So we want to make sure we're leading him to the sideline and not throwing the ball towards the middle of the field. Okay. Our screen game, this is probably more of my comfort zone. Throwing the ball out of 8-man is our screen game. I'm actually going to put this on film shortly. But basically our screen game, we were all basically working to get this kid the ball. With the Z here. That's really the point of this. The swing screen is great. This kid, number one, was actually not a great at receiving this pass. He kind of psyched himself out for it. But if we can throw that once and make that influence enough, that'll open up our, it really is a double screen without reading it as a double screen. We've been running it for years in 11-man, beat last year's New England, or 2 years ago, New England champions on it, because we ran it so well. And that's what we're doing. We're trying to get the funnel back to the Z to go up the field. We got intercepted on this screen pass twice this year. Once bad luck, once great read by the defender. So I kind of put it in my back pocket a little bit towards the end of the year when we maybe could have used it a little more. And then we have a wide screen, a real quick thrower that we're going to try to get the ball out to one of our guys and get up the sideline. Love this play in a quick count, so our guys always know when we hear it, we got to be set. We got to get up there and get set to the line and not be lazy. So I'll get back to play action shortly. Let's put some film on here. Okay, so our trips pass here. This is the curl and the pivot. This is a lazy pivot from 24. He should be really, and it's a learned skill. Guys don't understand in high school that you actually get open by attacking a defender and putting the defender on his back feet instead of just running to grass. Sometimes isn't the best idea. So, and I really want to see him attack this defender, put his ass right in that guy's lap, and then pivot out and make this kid defend him. Because get him out of his comfort zone, get his eyes off the quarterback. He's in a good space, but he ends up drifting downfield because he runs a sloppy route. He's too worried about getting out there and running the route. And number 7 runs the wrong route. He didn't hear the play. He's also dyslexic, so he messes plays up. But he always seems to do the right thing at the right time. So, but once the kid catches the ball, this is how you run after a catch. Punish somebody. So love that kid. He's back next year. Big basketball player. Same thing, run a little better from number 7, but again, bad drifting out. And we run this enough to get good at it, and that's on us. But this pass should be a little flatter, so he's got better area to catch it. Instead, he's drifting upfield, so the ball takes him upfield. Still makes a good catch in traffic to get us a good 7-yard gain on first down. So hard to get too mad at the kid when he actually makes a play, but he could have done it better. Here's Florida. down in Connecticut. It was over 90 degrees for this game, which for the guys in the South may be a big deal, but for us in Maine, it's kind of a big deal. And as you can see, we had about 16 players, if we were all healthy. We had guys dropping out of this game with cramps, like it was unbelievable. It was just we were putting kids in at every possible position. They had 35. Still came in with a win though. It kind of surprised them a little bit. So here's that smash corner. Not a great job protecting, so the quarterback's got to get rid of it, but that's pretty good. He probably does a little too much to the inside of the field, but he does put it in a place where only, our kid can get it because our kid's 6'3" and can jump. And that's again how you run after the catch. I got a chat here. So yeah, coach, with not as many guys. It's battle. We're really one of the ways we did well is we cross-trained some guys, and we were able to get away with playing a backup running back at guard, playing a kid who didn't play offense. Our free safety played center for a game, and because he's just a tough son of a bitch, that was pretty much, he's a hockey player. He didn't mind sticking his nose in there. We made it work, and also, the matchup that week was favorable for us, so that helps too. But different games, different things. Here's Ohio, which is always one of my favorite plays out of 11-man, kind of a sprint out sail concept. Excuse me. Again, batter out 24, but he's learning. He's kind of new to football. If he had been rounding that the way he should have, he catches that with more space. 2nd and 14, he's trying to get sticks and everything, but still, it's a good game. But we were not sharp at that stuff because we didn't run it that much, and part of it is my quarterback wasn't as comfortable throwing it. All right, let me go to the screen game stuff here. Before I go to that one. So Sweden, which is our swing screen. All my screens are countries. Just the way the kids remember it. Always done it that way. So Sweden, SW, swing. I'm not inventing electricity with that one. But just a swing screen. We're just trying to get out there. 23 is, he's that kid with a pulled hammy playing guard in this game. I wish he was going a little flatter to meet the block a little bit more downfield. But yeah, this is his first game at guard. I'm not going to complain. But if we run this play successfully once a week, it sets up a lot of our other stuff. So that was our hope. We didn't. We maybe completed it once all year. But it does set up this play, which is our double screen. It's always been my name with double screen, which is Djibouti. Trying to think of a country with a D and a B in it, and that's what we came up with a couple years ago. Or as 24 called it, Big Booty. He wanted to run Big Booty. So, this is our best player. He kind of fakes that like he's going to block for it. It's not a great fake, but the kid's so far off the ball, whatever. But 23, he's running swing, and there goes the linebacker. And there's our seam. Now, these guys should be downfield a little more. It's probably the first time we ran it all year. So, again, our first game of the year. So now it's up to number 7 to make a play. Yeah, he does. It's a wall here about the 10-yard line or so, but that's the goal. We'll hit it to 24 here as well. Faintly running a swing screen to number 8 in our guard, but you know what? They still got to defend it. That time this kid comes a little too wide, and we go underneath. The blocking is a little more where it should be here, and if he could kind of escape up here, we get there. So our aiming points for our guard, center, guard. If we're in the middle of the field, it's pretty easy. Our guard is going to kind of check for 1 and throw, and he's going to try to get out to that hash mark. Center is going to check for 1 and go middle of the field. Other guard's going to check for 1 and try to get downfield to the other hash mark and sort of divide into thirds. If we're on the hash, we go numbers, hash, middle. So that's kind of the way we did it. It never works out as clean as you think it was going to work out. This team, this is Pomfret School, had a defensive tackle who's going to UConn, I think. So you know what, he was pretty good. Just trying to block him, and so that's why I always like screen against these guys, because you know what, we can run it, and then we don't have to block that kid. So whereas we couldn't run the ball that week. Down the road from us here at Hebron Academy, same deal, just kind of getting this kid in space. I think a little too much acting from our number one there, but whatever. You know, and if we get that second guy out, if the nose tackle or the center just throws the damn nose tackle and gets out here and gets in the way of 25, we actually might have something. Still in 20-yard gain. The kid stepped out of bounds, not knowing where out of bounds was. It's a little confusing on the old 11-man field where they just painted a line underneath the numbers here, and so it was a little confusing, but whatever. Would have been an extra couple more yards. Happened worse than a jet sweep that game. But you go to the well once too often, and your quarterback and the kid reads it very well. And this is also this is on number 7. He is way too far wide, and he kept kind of falling in love, getting wider and wider. He should be on what is the old hash here. Splitting the difference between the numbers and the hash. This is the new hash for 11 or 8 man. He should be right about there. So his path to come back in is too far away, and that puts the ball right in that kid's hands. Had he been a little tighter, you know, he would probably run by that, in theory. So it doesn't always work out. Go to the well once too often. Quick screen. I got 2 of those on here. Quick is Korea. Kind of that hard K sound. Same thing. We're going to have trips here. You got an extra guy at the point of attack. Get 24 out there. He gets the corner. X comes flat. The guard comes upfield a little bit. That's a pretty good escort. Now, if he were to take one step and go around these blocks, he probably has a sick touchdown. Instead, he tries to go outside that first block, which is not what he's told to do. And he gets knocked out of bounds. But it's still a pretty good play. I'm never really hypercritical, though, of where my guys go with the ball, because if they get me 10 yards, you know, they see what they see. I want to be comfortable with the ball and not thinking too much. You give them that kind of point of contact, that point of reference where they should be going, and then let their athleticism take over. 24 should have done a better job. He went for the kill shot here, and he ended up blocking the kid, but he could have done better. And normally we tell our guys to come flat, to basically come right there, because the corner should be there. And this kid's playing off at, you know, almost 10 yards. So it's a good adjustment by him. I'm not going to complain about his path there. All right. Last screen. We run the old guard screen. I got 2 more. We ran a little bunch set this week and didn't really fall in love with it. So never went back to it, but we like this play out of it at least. We just see other stuff to set up. We ran like a jet sweep to 24 off of, and what we did off of that was run a kind of a play action swing screen to our best kid. So, you know, it was pretty good. It gets him in space, you know, with the ball, and he makes one kid miss, and it's a good play. I believe we ran it for a 2-point conversion as well. And so it's probably it right here. Yeah. You know, I love the 2-point plays. I didn't kick an extra point all year. I didn't want to get someone hurt. I was part of it because I didn't have kids, and I thought that was an injury risk for my holder, my kicker, anyone trying to set an edge. The angle is really tough. So I went for 2 every time, and I took chances on 2-point conversions. I said, all right, you know what, just throw a blind. I don't care. Let's take our chances. Let's see if we can fake them out. And we did it against this team a few times. This is one of them where we took our chance. All right. And then we have the old guard screen as well. We ran once, and this actually could have been pretty good. So we step off. This should be a penalty, obviously. You know, this kid's already off the line, I believe, is how we did it. Yeah. So I'm not even sure how we did this legally, but it wasn't run right. We had a bunch of guys hurt at this point in the game. But just in terms of, don't forget about the procedural stuff. In terms of setting it up, it's kind of a middle screen with the other guard and center kind of out there for him, and he's supposed to catch it and go between the hash marks. And he's a pretty good athlete. This is a starting winger for our hockey team here, second line kid. I mean, he's big time hockey, so he should be able to do this. And he's also big, and the umpire gets in the way, but that happens. And he thinks he's Barry Sanders all of a sudden. And he cuts back against the grain back to his own line of scrimmage. Never works out well for an lineman. So he deservedly gets tackled for a 3-yard gain, 2-yard gain maybe. That's the guard screen. And we had it in the playbook. We never really put it back out again. Again, those guys are playing, for us, we're playing both ways at a very high level, particularly on defense. Our defensive front was very strong. And we worked them hard. And so ask them to make a play in space. You know, I was asking a lot from them, and I wanted to make sure they were healthy because without them, we didn't have much. So we try to limit them on offense. Other years, if I had 20 kids and maybe you know a special kid there, that's a different story. All right, almost done. Play action. I'll go real quick. This is a great play for this formation. There we go. Play action pass. Where's the? Okay. We called Duke. All my play actions were colleges, though the only one I ran all year was Duke, pretty much. We're going to step off the X, and we're going to make it look just like inside zone. We want to ride the X into the line like it's inside zone, like it's dirt. We're going to block by going not downfield. We're going to take steps forward, like we're blocking inside zone. And the Y is going to come across the field at linebacker depth, and we're going to hopefully get the linebackers here, okay, to step up. And as soon as this kid steps up, we're going to slip the ball by his right ear or his left ear, our right side, okay, and we're going to hit that. And that was a big play for us. And it really, if your quarterback sells it, it's pretty good out of this look. And I'd say any look, anytime you're running zone run. Here's our biggest play of the game, and this game we won against Pomfret was this play. And he's even probably too deep, but you can see it, just that simple, like just the bending of the knees, the opening of the arms, the ball in the breadbasket. And this kid should be coming a little bit shallower, but their linebackers are playing like at 7 yards. So, it ends up working out. I mean, it's right there. Zip that ball by his ear. Well, he just went the other way. I mean, but even if he stayed where he was, now we got space. And we're blocking downfield. And probably a penalty not called. But the flag is thrown, but it ends up not being. They pick it up. So 48-yard touchdown. Okay, same thing. I want him to come across shallower. He's too deep. Ends up being pass interference, which was probably a bullshit call on our behalf, but still, if we come across shallower, which, we went over this, and run through that guy, catch it, and then you turn and run. It's like you did two weeks earlier for a touchdown. And he keeps getting things, you got to go behind him. It's like, well, if the kid doesn't read run, it's fine. Go in front of him. Fastest place, the fastest way to get somewhere, straight line. Works here. Better path, right in the sweet spot. And plus, this team has blitzed so much that as long as we can hold our blocks for a half a second, and we maybe stop a foot of a blitzer because he thinks it's run, it's pretty good. And nothing on this one. So, and then just a few more things here. Kind of just sometimes you drop a trick play that you think is just going to be awesome. Flea flicker, and then it is awesome. Everything works out, and your wide receiver loses the ball in the sun, and they intercept you in the end zone. Good old. We ended up winning this game by a lot, but at this point in the game, it was pretty close, and we were a little worried. And then doink. So, and he's the best player too, by the way, did that. So, one more thing I wanted to show before I finish up my time here. I do have lots of film on it, my one-man routes, but it's just, if you want, I can obviously share that with you. Our slant, our fade, our comeback, and go over those coaching points with you another time. This is one we watched this team on film. We fell against trips down in short yardage. They definitely they just forgot about our backside guy. They were playing man to man, and the free safety was supposed to be man on him, but they never watched him. So we just said, all right, for a 2-point conversion, we're just going to throw blind to him. So we did it once. He could not be more open. And we got up by a score 26-0. I lose that. Last play. We decided to do it again. And I think this ball was in the air for about 3 minutes. But, so find things they don't cover. And, and on 2-point plays, that's your chance to kind of try it out and have some fun with it. And that's part of it, is getting all the kids involved and make sure all having fun. All right. I think that's all the film I got, Coach. I'm pretty sure that's all my presentation as well. 26. Yeah.
That's awesome, Coach. Good stuff. Did you guys move off from the turf when you went to 8-man?
Yeah, we kind of got that directive that this is your field now. And for us, we would have had to have redone all our lines in the turf, which would have been a pain because they were. I mean, I don't know what kind of paint they use in that stuff, but man, it was on there. And we already had a grass field that we used once in a while. If like everyone was home at once, we'd use the grass, which hadn't happened in a couple of years. So we were up on the grass this year. Kids complain. I don't care. Whatever.
But we had to play a playoff game at your place years ago. I'm thinking it was maybe 2012. Our field was completely underwater, and we came over to Kents Hill and played Belfast over there in I think a quarterfinal game.
Okay. Yeah, and we've Tom and I played in I think the coldest game in the history of football a couple years ago on our turf, where we had like 70-mile-an-hour winds at night. We brought in lights, and it was the single coldest game I've ever been at in my life. It was 6-0, I think it was the final.
The one thing I remember about that Belfast game was there was no difference between the crowd and the sidelines. So the crowd was like, I'm calling plays, and people are right behind me.
Were you on the open side? You were
yeah, we were on the open side, and then there was a lady from Belfast who came down, and she was following me up and down the sideline with a cowbell, ringing it in my ear from behind to try to distract.
So we gave you a field, but we didn't give you any crowd control. It sounds like.
Right. Does anybody out there have any questions for Coach? You guys can turn on your mic and ask a question if you want. I'm going to stop recording.